A company called Faith Package, a lighting equipment distributor, have contacted me and asked me to review one of their LED light banks. What they have done is sent me this battery-powered LED light bank. It's called the IVISII G2, and I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I have no idea. Anyhow, they have sent me this device for review, and I have a chance to play with this for a few weeks. I have used this in a few of my videos on the channel. I think this is a really cool device that you may want to consider adding to your workflow. So what I'm going to do is talk about the device in general, how much it costs, what comes in the box, give you my review about this device, and then what I'm going to do is talk about some of the creative use cases that this device can really power. So let's find out together what this thing can do. I'm Art and ArtIsRight. Before we start, subscribe if you're new and hit on the bell icon so you'll be notified every time I upload cool new videos like this. Full disclaimer, Faith Package have sent me this LED light to do a review on it. All opinions in this video are my own. They did not have an opportunity to preview this video before it was released. And I will have the link to this LED light in the description below. And they were also kind enough to give you guys who are watching my channel a 30% off on this LED light bank as well. And we'll talk about pricing and everything else later on too. So primarily in the package, what you get is the LED light itself, which is a battery powered one. The arm and the bracket, this is pretty much aluminum. It feels really sturdy. It weighs around 11 ounces or so, and the frame itself is aluminum. On the back here, I think this acts more of like a heat sink or so, and I feel like this is aluminum, although I can't be 100% certain. There is a active LED that tells you what mode you're in, what color, temperature you're at, and so forth, and there are two dial buttons on the side there that also, if you push into it, acts like a button as well. We're going to go over that a little bit more. And there is the toggle on and toggle off switch, as you see there. A few other things that comes in the box is the USB Type A to USB Type C. This is for charging, although I have used my other USB Type C cable with it and it works just fine. It also comes with this adapter thing that will pretty much convert the light itself, and then it will allow you to mount this cold shoe on top of your camera. A pouch, little manual, and it's pretty much this light stand or this mini tripod thing, which works fairly well. I mean, it's built out of plastic, but it feels really sturdy. It doesn't feel like cheap plastic or anything like that at all. So what I'm going to do is mount this onto the light stand, and we'll take this for a spin. Okay, now that I have the LED light mounted on the tripod that comes with it, I think it's pretty cool. I've actually used this tripod on multiple different occasions. Like I said, it's actually a plastic tripod, but it feels, fairly sturdy to me, and the construction of the light itself is fairly good. So this, you can rotate it up like so. You can rotate this around yourself. Pivot it up. There you go. So you can change the angle, and it's fairly free when you really want to do that. So there's a lot of things you can do. I think that this is going to be a good companion when you mount it on top of the camera. On the side there are three type of buttons per se. One of them is a switch. The middle one is an on-off switch, so they toggle that on. The LED light in the front will turn on, and the LCD in the back that gives you the status, the mode you're in, the battery charge, and everything will show on the back. It doesn't give you the battery charge in percentage. It just shows you as a visual indicator of the battery there that you see in the corner. And the modem in right now is pretty much a continuous white light mode. Right now it's set to 10%. What I can do is manually, literally turn this up by highlighting that just like so, and I can bring this up on different intensity. But I can also do a hack where instead of using this dial wheel up and down, what I can do is just press in on it. And if I press in on it, it will go from 0, as you see there, to 10, 25, 50, 75, and 100. We'll leave this around 25% or so, just so that it's not too bright. And the other thing what I can do too is change this mode down here and go into a color temperature mode. So with this, what I can literally do is bring this up to 10,000 Kelvin, which is really this blue light, what we can see now, or I can bring this down to 2,600 Kelvin or so, and this is going to produce this really warm light that we see. So you can change this light to a lot of temperatures, and I feel like this is one of the really great features for both pro photo and video. If you want to match a lighting, an ancillary lighting on top of the camera, on the side somewhere, to the environment that you have so that you don't have a lighting color mismatch. This is going to be, I think, the easiest way to do it, because then you don't have to bring a gel pack with you. You don't have to worry about trying to match the gel to the environment, because you can really just eyeball this, having this on the camera, and just adjust it until it looks right, you know, within the camera itself. So this is one way of going about that, which I think is going to be extremely helpful. There's also some other modes on here too. So on the button here on the very bottom, or on the towards the bottom of the device itself, if we press down one more time, what we get is these different color modes. So you can set the different pretty much RGB rotation, and we can do that, and you can see there how it goes between all these different colors. You can set for every color the different type of intensity, how much of the white light is mixed in. So that's kind of changing the hue of light a little bit. So you can go full RGB itself, which then you'll get more saturated colors. So overall, I think that the feature of this light is fairly interesting, and there are some pre-programmable modes that they built into this light. So let's go into that right now by pressing down on here. So right now I'm in mode number 9, which is a RGB moving really fast. Let's go to number 1 so we can do SOS. Number 2 is lighting. There's like 2 lighting modes if you want to do that. There is a screen mode. This is probably a mode that if you turn it towards the wall or something, it simulates a screen or a TV screen that's on. You can have a police mode, an ambulance mode, fire truck mode, RGB cycling slowly, and RGB cycling fast. Personally, I don't think that these 9 modes are really helpful to me. I think they're kind of just nice to have, but I mean, it doesn't really come in so useful to me. I think one of the more useful modes to me is the RGB color, and you may have seen this in one or a few of my videos already, and in also some of the still shots that I use with the BenQ display. The one where I start out with purple alert. Essentially, I've set this light to purple color, and I put this behind the screen, and it works out fairly well throughout majority of the video, and I kind of enjoy using it. I think it really adds a great accent and has a lot of creative uses to it. The other mode that I really like though is this mode itself, where you can go in and set the different color temperature. So as I mentioned already, you can use this for photo, for video, but one of the things that we may have not think about using this device for is to use it as a light to view our prints. On this channel, I've always emphasized that you should match the lighting that you're viewing your prints to the white point of the display. And I think that this is one of the easier devices that you can buy, and they're cheap enough that you can buy it to do pretty much print proofing. They're not going to be as accurate as, I would say, the light box that costs hundreds or thousands of dollars, but I think this is going to be a great start if you don't have any equipment at all to view your prints on. In some of the other videos, what I have mentioned before is to get a lamp, something like this from Amazon or so, and then get a D65 or a D50 light bulb, whatever that may be, to do print proofing on. The thing is that this setup itself right now will run you around $40, and if you add a dimmer to it, you also need to find a bulb that is capable of dimming as well, and this dimmer will run you another $20. So you're looking at about $50 to $60 depending on the combinational equipment you have. Compared to this device, this one retails at $70, and with 30% off, you can get this one for around $49 or so. I think this is a pretty good deal. Like I said, just for that purpose alone, I think this is a really creative use for that. So for instance, if I have set my display white point to 5500 Kelvin, well, I can just set it to 5500 Kelvin here, and that would be D55. If I set my display white point to D65, I can simply tune this up to D65 and view my prints on there. So I think that this overall is a really great function of this. A couple of other things that I want to mention about this, I think this continuous light mode that they have, is a couple of indexes. One of them is the CRI, the other one is the TLCI. So the CRI, the color rendering index for this light, the manufacturer have said that this is supposed to show greater than 99%. I'm not really 100% certain how accurate that is. I don't have a color meter at the moment, so what I can only tell you is that we have to take them on face value. So far, from looking at it, it seems to be fairly accurate. And the other value, though, that we may want to look at as well is the TLCI. The TLCI for this device is range at, I believe it's 99 or so. There you go. So CRI is 97, TLCI is 99 for this color temperature range. And the only thing that I can tell is that when I run this on 5000 Kelvin, I notice that the light is tinting a little bit more magenta than the reference light bulb that I have in my room, which also has a 90 plus CRI index. So not really 100% sure if this is the most accurate light or not, but for the price point, I think this is an extremely versatile light that you can use for photo, you can use for video, you can use for pretty much print proofing if you're packing your car at night and you need a light. This is going to be a great light bank for you to have. It's battery powered. The other thing too is that the battery is 32 watt hours, as mentioned, and this is supposed to last at half power around 5 hours or in 5 hours and 45 minutes or so. At half power, when you're running at full power, it's supposed to last around 3 hours and 17 minutes. So it does last quite some time. If you're using this for video, you're not going to have this on full blast all the time, and I think that will work well. And another thing that you can do too is that if you have a power bank like this, what you can simply do, it's plug the cord into the power bank and run this directly off the power bank, and it will also charge while it's on the power bank as well. As we see there right now, it's charging at the moment. So it can pretty much run, I think, I wouldn't say indefinitely. I think that there may be a time where it gets too hot and it will shut off. I haven't run into that issue yet. But I think this is a really cool light. The other good thing too about this light that I've thought about, and I wish I had known about this earlier in the year because I had to do an interview on location, and to put it short, we didn't have enough carry-on or enough check-in luggage to really, a lot of space to really be carrying lights with us. So we have to FedEx a light into location. We were on location at a convention, and it was just pretty much kind of a pain. What I can do with this is get maybe like 4 of these or so and pretty much just do an interview with that. I think this would be really cool for that. So I can set one as the key for each of the person, the interviewer and the interviewee. I can have one in the middle somewhere as a fill and maybe another one in the background as an accent light or something. So there are a lot of uses for this, and I think it's going to be a device that, save quite a bit of time. And I have used this device in a scenario where I set it up as a key light before, and it tends to work fairly well, provided you're in a smaller environment, you're not really doing a big production or anything like that. It will work fairly good. Okay, this is what I wanted you to see. I have turned off the Godox VL200, which acts as a fill light, and normally what I have on there is an Octabox, and pretty much this is just using the LED panel at 100% power. I think this is right now tuned to around 6000 Kelvin color temperature. This is pretty much just raw light, no lighting modifier whatsoever. You can see there behind me that the shadows become a little bit harsher. The fill light still works overall, but you can always definitely modify this up. So what I'm going to do next is let's modify this and put it inside of the Octabox, and let's see how this works compared to what we have with the Godox in the beginning. All right, what you see here is the LED light through the Octabox. And essentially the Octabox is pretty much set up in the same position. I just inserted a small LED light on the inside. It's being diffused twice, so there is a diffusion on the inside of the Octabox and another one on the outside. You can see that the lighting is a little bit harsher than the VL200, but it's a lot nicer than just the light alone without any kind of fill light at all. Now what I'm going to do is modify some of this a little bit more, and let's see what can happen. So this is a slight different modification. You can see the umbrella portion there in the scene a little bit, and this is pretty much bouncing into the umbrella. What I'm going to do now is turn off this key light so you can see what the lighting effect is like. And you can see there that it provides a fairly harsh lighting. You can, it doesn't fill too well, but I think that, like I said, if you use it for a small production, what you can even do is put 2 of these together. And I still think that this would provide enough light for just to do an interview in general. But I think that to use this as an accent or to use this as a lighting that will balance with the environment that you're in is something that you can consider. So far right now, it's providing a decent fill light for me, just with, a little bit more dramatic look. It's still soft enough because I'm bouncing this into the umbrella. But you have to remember too that the moment you bounce a light into your umbrella or you've actually put it through a softbox or something like that, that's going to drastically cut down the intensity of a light because the light does scatter a lot more. So those are a couple of things to think about there. And there's one more setup that I want to show you is to use this light as a lighting to do print proofing. So we're going to reset that up, and from there what we're going to do is wrap this up and I'll give you some of my thoughts on it. Just based on what I'm seeing in the video right now, it matches, but what I'm also seeing in real life, the color does come really close to each other. So using this light bank to do a print review like this is probably one of the more creative uses that you can get from it. All right, so after using that to do a lot of the testing for a while, the light is a little bit warm. The aluminum frame does a pretty decent job dissipating the heat from the LED itself. And, so far I have a, great joy using this. I haven't been doing so much where I'm using this as a key or a fill. Most of the time I have been using this as an accent for both of my video work and also some of my still work as well. And I find this really just a nice little nifty light that you can buy and just throw in your bag, have it there, charge it before you go out on a shoot, and it should work really well. So far I have run some endurance tests on it, not fully, but it has lasted for quite some time, and rarely do I really run this at 100% all the time anyway. Maybe for an interview you may have to do that, and I think that if you have multiple one of these for an interview, you can really create like a nice bank there that will just provide you enough light that you're going to need anyway. For the price, I think this is really a fantastic value, something that you might want to consider getting. A few more things I want to note, if I haven't mentioned this already, is that these dials on top and bottom here, they work as a press button, and so far they've been working okay, but sometimes these button does get stuck a little bit, so what you have to do is just kind of just have it have the spring bounce a little bit, so you can kind of push it down and just have it like jolt out. That would help. That would probably be the comment I have on this one, that I really feel like these buttons are a little bit flimsy. They should have made it a little bit better. But overall, I think for the price itself, this is actually not a bad buy. So anyhow, I hope that you find this review of the IVISII G2 light helpful. If you have any questions about this, leave them in the comment section below. Give this video a like, subscribe if you're new, hit on the bell to be notified every time I upload cool new contents like this. And until next time, art is right.